Wow. Hello. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Boston Concessions. I'm your host, Topher. It's been a bit of a stretch with a couple things, and of course, me not being able to get on and be where I wanted to be, but now I'm here. A little early than our normal midnight show. And I figured to the fact it was give or take a good time to actually do it. Because we get a lot to cover. Um, a lot of things with the Celtics, a lot of things basically going on with, of course, the main thing, just talking about the Patriots and how I felt about that Super Bowl, all the way down to, uh, well, some food I had tonight, and uh, I guess some Red Sox stuff that's been peaking. Um, Also, I want to talk about the Bruins and how they're basically where they are. So it's a loaded show. Figured you about 2 hours. Get you nice and get you nice hot and heavy, get you in, and of course, the main course is basically just enjoying some time. So, without further ado, um, I didn't really have a lot set up. Um, I'm still going through a couple things that I want to do, things I like, things I don't like. I know a lot of people will probably look at me and, dude, you've been doing the show for it's your second year. You had a good half year, you had a full year, and now you're on a roll. Just because I do certain things doesn't mean I'm gonna like it. There's moments where you get that energy, you get that feeling, that gusto, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I don't like that. I didn't like it. Um, some things, especially when I could show it on YouTube and I could um show it on Twitter. I tried doing um the TikTok live, and for some reason it won't take to StreamYard. It really sucks. Or either that, or in order for me to go live and have a connection and do everything as I do, I need 1,000 followers. I understand TikTok wants to tell you it's amazing, it's lucrative. Well, if you want me to grow my audience, I'm not going to do it with an instantaneous 1,000 followers. Okay, and I'm not going to show them a piece of crap that is on TikTok when I can do so much better showing them this. I'd rather show people this. Why? Because if I show them this, what are you seeing? You're seeing Boston Concessions. You're seeing me. You're seeing the whole limelight, Boston in the background. Very high and mighty, everything that you'd want to see. Do you want to see my bare wall? No. Do you want to see half the stuff I have in here? I mean, if I had some memorabilia, something like that, it's great. Cool. But I don't have that. So why would I want to show it? Nah, not for me. Just gonna get one thing going on. Well, I guess the start of where I'll go is again, it's knowing where the Patriots were, where they've gone, and a lot of people basically sitting there giving me the edge of everything. Oh, well, yo, you do realize the Patriots had that soft schedule. They had everything. They got everything handed to them. Um, I made a video on TikTok that explained something very, very simple and very easy. Um, if you wanted to call soft schedule, fine. But tell me where a lot of things basically went right for the Patriots and tell me where they went wrong, where they were losing. See, I'm all for a soft schedule if to the fact that you can tell me, okay, that the New York Jets were not going to have an interception all season. Okay. If you could break that and tell me that, okay. If you could also tell me that the Denver Broncos are going to be 14-3, if you could tell me that the Bills were going to be second in the AFC this year, if you could also tell me the rankings and everything like that on week 18 for the first week of the year, I'll believe your soft schedule sob story. I'll believe it all the time. You know what I'm not going to believe it? Is any other time. Okay? All I've heard is frauds, fakes, softs, don't have it, don't got it. And then, the Super Bowl comes in and it's, oh, well, what are they really going to do? Like, who are they going to play? I will tell you, as a diehard Patriot fan, I will root for the Patriots all day. Okay. I will have strong ambitions, strong feelings, but I'll also do something other people won't do. I'll break down how they can win. I'll break down how they can lose. I'll break down everything that goes on, but I'll also, in realisticness, tell you, does the other team have a better chance? I don't care who was coming out of the NFC. The NFC had some meat on them. They had basically the mustard. They were not bare bones. They were primed, upped, ready to go. You knew one of the AFC people were going to win it. Why? Because the AFC was the more dominant friggin' teams of this year. Don't tell me no. Don't look at me and say, oh, AFC, NFC, or what do they really know about like what they can do? No, I'll tell you straight out. The AFC was a weak system this year. The NFC held power, grace, and everything in between. So what am I supposed to do? Sit here and look at somebody and be like, oh yeah, let me pump rainbows into you because I know how great the Patriots are going to be. Let me pump rainbows and like how great the Seahawks are going to be. Ooh, or the Rams. Woo. You know the really really bad part that I mentioned to somebody, and this was one I had on there. One of my picks was the Rams losing to Carolina. Why? Because that's how ridiculously strong the NFC could be. You have an 8-9 team that made the playoffs, mind you. And for them to go in and hold basically the one who should be champion hostage, where they were going to be this magic team, magic beats people. Basically, in a nutshell, tell me you wanted Matt Stafford because it might have been his last year. Tell me any which way to Sunday that you were rooting on the line for the Bears to show up and actually drive something in a manner of speaking. These teams were not slouchy teams. And I'm not going to sit there and berate anybody and say they weren't slouches. The Bears were damn good. They turned their program around. Okay? The Rams, they had Matt Stafford. They had Puka Nacua. Okay? They had Devontae Adams. Don't tell me they weren't loaded at the front either. Okay? There's a reason why. Okay, cool. I got a thumbs down. Don't know why. Not sure if you're coming down to the fact that, like, the NFC is horrible. Couldn't tell you. But just don't give me the agita that, you know, these teams weren't loaded for a reason. Okay? Because when it comes down to it, I can give you some perfectly good stuff that I haven't been able to talk to yet. How about the snub of Robert Kraft? Robert Kraft not getting into the Hall of Fame? Why not? Why wouldn't Robert Kraft get in the Hall of Fame? I'd really want to know. Is it because he started out owning parking lots, bought a team, had a dream, put it together, made a Super Bowl, lost, put another team together with it, just moved up and coming to like where now he's a Mongol of industry and made everything? Or is it because he kept Bill Belichick in there for 20 years and Belichick was sketchy about things? Was it the handy session he got down in Florida one year? I mean, if you want to tell me why he got snubbed, I really want to hear it. And the reason why I want to hear it is because there's bigger fish to fry with what Robert Kraft has done for the Patriots, but also for the NFL. And I'm sorry, he put money, control, and time. What are you talking about, Michael NWP Wart's show in comics? Who is this? You gotta love people, hecklers, and everything. Dude, get lost. Keep it where it is. And like I was saying before, some dipshit doodle like decided to like come in here and actually, think to the fact of what he wants to say. My rendition of what it is you are exactly what you should be in Robert Kraft. You built up the stage of what this person is. And you had your wife, God rest her before she passed, working alongside with you, building that legacy. And now he has a son right by his side, building that legacy. But they haven't steered the ship. Where have they done wrong? Where have they done anything horrible? They haven't. Okay? It's like I said to somebody, if to the fact it comes down to it, if you snub Robert Kraft, then the main thing you should basically do is you should snub Jerry Jones when he comes up. Because Jerry Jones has been like an absolute ain't like he's been an ass. I like Jerry Jones, I hate Jerry Jones. And this points to where like I like him and hate him is because he's got principles on certain things and you know he's got certain levels of maturity that just don't show up. And how he acts, especially with his team, and blaming his coaches, doing everything like there's such a thing as hands on that's great, but then there's too much hands on when it's like, dude, let the guys do their job. If you don't like how they do their job, fire them. If you don't like it in other ways, shapes, or forms, say get rid of him. That's fine. Who cares? Other snub. Bill Belichick. You know, Willie McGinnis said it perfectly in his car. How are you going to snub one of the best head coaches in the league in years? Just doesn't make sense. It doesn't. This man won Super Bowls with the New York Giants. He won Super Bowls as the head coach of the New England Patriots. He basically showed what he could do utilizing the tools that were given to him. And let me tell you, look at his tenure with the Browns. Go ahead. Because I'll tell you flat out, there was a difference between him being with the Browns and him being with the Patriots. Him being with the Browns, they gave him nothing. Nothing. Did you expect him to have a winning combination? No. He wasn't going to. However, you put him with the Patriots, and their drive and success is going to be so much more of what you want, and put that best foot forward. That's what I want to see. Because I know for myself, there's certain levels of everything that goes on. But when you have a really, really good like guy who's controlling everything, and he makes everybody better than what they are, then yeah. Like my expectation is to like be better than that. And he did. He got them to the bowl. He won them a lot a lot of what they needed. I'm just never understanding, you know, where people are kind of taking away from it, you know? Because to me, when you go into that other level, there should be something better. And Bill Belichick had that better. Um, it's the same thing with, you know, when you sit there and you look at everything else along the line of, you know, hey, we had, you know, this person come up and this should have been better. It's the same thing when you had Drew Bledsoe and you then drafted Tom Brady um, as the last pick of a draft at what 299, and then he's the supreme being of all. Why? Because Drew Bledsoe got hurt. He got a shot and carried it to that day. You know, a lot of people will say there would be no Brady without Bill. True. Go back to my other method. There would be no Bill. There would be no Brady without Robert. That's That's where you have to be. That's where it is. So there were a lot of snubs. Snubs. And I know I got off the topic a little bit. And the reason why I got off the topic a little bit is because a lot of people still snub the Patriots to this day. Why? Well, I could tell you flat out. Some people just believe that the Patriots have to be horrible now. They have to be this end all be all of everything else. It's a lot of stuff where I think one of the things that set me a little bit was I don't know if anybody's watched um Nick Wright. Um he's got his What's Right with Nick Wright. Um a lot of the stuff that this dude does, like he, he he's Chris Collinsworth in a younger representation, the way he basically dangles off of Patrick Mahomes' yam bag. And why do I say it like that? Because it's kind of true. Nick Wright is all about anything with that. And then instead of, hey, let me give you like something like as it is here, and let me give you something as it is there. No, you want to rip on somebody and then tell somebody else, oh, hey, your team doesn't belong here. But yet, you want to still sit there and make the Kansas City Chiefs, who didn't make the playoffs. Hi, I'm going to make the Kansas City Chiefs relevant, even though they're not in the playoffs. Sad. In my eyes, sad. And I've listened to Nick Wright. You know, a lot of times he can be very right. Other times it leaves a sour taste in my mouth, especially when be equal, be about it, be what it is. I don't see Nick Wright being there because, again, when you don't know where Patrick Mahomes ends and he begins, listen, that's straight up for what it is. But there is something somebody told me that was directly on point. I have been talking up Sam Darnold for 2 years. This year, last year. And I said it when he left the Jets. He is going to make something of himself. He's going to be something that he needs to be. And there's going to be a wondrous applause within who he is and how he carries himself. And then my comment afterwards was very, very interesting. Who on their bingo card had Sam Darnold winning a Super Bowl championship before Joe Burrow? For Lamar Jackson. For Josh Allen. What's that? Nobody? Yeah, I'm not surprised. The story of it goes as follows. When you're New York, You will drop anybody, even the possibility of a Super Bowl champion. Why? Because you have no direction. I hate to say it, but the New York Jets have not had direction since Bill Parcells. They still don't. They're putting pieces together, and it sucks because you have either really good coaching. You had really good coaching in Robert Saleh. You dropped the ball with that. You went and got Aaron Rodgers, of all people, who first game in sucked. Then you had to wait a year in order to use him. And then half the time he even sucked. And then it went forward with the rest of the stuff. It's subtle disappointments, especially for me, that just ruin it. But this is also the New York agenda. Let's get rid of our number one. We drew him. Okay. And what was the itinerary plan? We're gonna take a number one, gonna draft Zach Wilson. Great spot where he is, by the way. And then what? You basically pitch him off to Carolina. You don't really get a lot in return. He's seen as a second or third string quarterback. Then they go and get Baker Mayfield, Carolina. It didn't really make sense. It didn't. But the evolution of Sam Darnold getting there was he kept his cool, kept his composure, played a couple games in Carolina. And you know something? You saw some of the strength where I started calling this man Stud Darnold. Why? I don't know, because a lot of times he didn't make a lot of mistakes. He didn't make a lot of things horrible. And then he went to Minnesota. And that man did everything right. He put Minnesota back on the map. He showed to the fact that Minnesota was a contender, that you can make the playoffs, you can drive a lot of stuff. And yeah, you get bumped. Okay. They don't sign him. Well, everybody and the mother left Seattle. So Seattle, hey, we don't get a coach. Don't get Geno Smith. Let's take a chance on the kid. And he did. But these are people that when you sign someone like Sam Darnold, aka Stud Darnold in my book, you get somebody that basically you can build around. They've got the talent, they've got the pool, they've got the stuff in the chamber. What do you got to do? You got to build around it. Do you think New York built around Sam? No. They built around their defense, which was sometimes very good, but they couldn't hold up against certain teams. And then their offense consisted of half and nobodies. So where was Sam supposed to grow? It's not like when you had Chad Pennington and you had like a good revolving cast around Pennington that Pennington looked good. So Sam went to Carolina, to Minnesota, to Seattle. And the funniest part of it, So, with the Patriots dropping the Super Bowl to the Seahawks 29-13, the Seahawks won the Super Bowl in their rivalry stadium, which is one of my teams, which is San Francisco. That's a part I can laugh at. Throughout the time, San Francisco, Seattle have always battled left and right. It's always been fun to watch. Sometimes it's one sided, sometimes it's neck and neck, sometimes it's other sided. But you know something? They've always had really good games and a really good rivalry. I'll give them that. The fact that they went into their rivals' den and won the Super Bowl is all the more so strength. It's character. It's impressive. Now, I know a lot of people wanted to sit there and talk to me about Drake May. Drake May did look bad. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Not going to hide it. I'm not going to be like certain people that on TikTok, on Twitter, or anywhere else that want to sit there and bellyache about a lot of things. To where they basically make it to, Drake May wasn't ready. Drake May wasn't ready. How much more ready did you want him to be? You saw how he was in the AFC Championship game. He did get injured. The injury was there. It was stated. It was trying to get better, but it wasn't. And you saw some of the highlights of the throws, but I also knew it. I knew it in the throw to Austin Hooper. He had Austin Hooper wide open. Nobody near him. Was basically all the way downfield. And it would have been a beautiful, beautiful aspect for what it would be. He overthrew him. So it's either put a lot of mustard on it when he kind of shouldn't, or with how that shoulder felt, it was off. There's no ways to look around it. And then when you also want to go into the offensive line, sure. The defensive line for Seattle was beastly. Beastly. They would have basically shoved it up Josh Allen's ass. They would have ran down and destroyed Bo Nix. I don't care who you think. If you're a Denver fan and you want to hear this shit, I'll tell you straight up, because when I swear, it means to the fact I'm telling you something that's honest and right. You could sit there all you want and tell me, oh, well, if Bo Nix was healthy, bullshit. Bo Nix would have got rocked by Seattle. Buffalo, in all their glory, would have got rocked by Seattle. The Patriots, as much as I wanted them to win, I had a feeling they were going to get rocked by Seattle. If it was the other way around, if Seattle lost against the Rams, somebody would have had a shot at beating the Rams. And I'll state it in this manner. If I pick Carolina to beat Seattle, no, I'm sorry. If I pick Carolina to beat the Rams, I'm not picking Seattle to lose against Carolina. I'm not. It's not happening. I don't care who you are. I don't care what scenario you look at. There is no way in hell that Seattle would have lost to Carolina. Now, where Carolina's already beaten St. Louis, yeah, there was strong aspects for them to do it all day. All day. And you can't, within a shadow of anything you look at, state to the fact that anybody would have picked Carolina to win and be honest about it, because you were riding the coattails of Matt Stafford. You know you were. You know the difference between like everything you look at with Matt Stafford though? Matt Stafford was doing exactly what he shouldn't. Matt Stafford was never making it to the Super Bowl. Matt Stafford should have been out the door within, well, by Carolina. And then I would have wanted to see how anybody voted for him in the MVP voting. Because that's another thing I'll talk to in a little bit. Going back to the Super Bowl though, the offense was not together. Why? Seattle's defense was, well, Seattle's defense had it more together. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. If you think you're going to come on here and be like, oh, you know, Boston Sports Podcast, and like, why is he talking ill will of like his team? Because I'm honest about it. I'm not going to sit here pumping rainbows to something that doesn't need to be there. Okay? Did I want the Patriots to win? Yes. Was I rooting for the Patriots to win? Yes. Did Seattle have an immaculate defense? Mm-hmm. Did it show? Yes. You took advantage of an O-line, which was basically an open conga line, for anybody to sift through. What did they have? 6 sacks? 7 sacks? It was something stupid and ridiculous. And Drake May was tagged all the time. Like, he was sacked, hurried. He couldn't really run. He couldn't really scramble. Why? Because they closed the door on him. Where are you supposed to do anything? That's the part I don't like. They had an agenda for the Patriots for the voting that week. Mr. G. Fetty, they could have the agenda all day. The way Seattle closed them down, yeah. But if you're also talking about voting, the only person that went through the cracks, which even when people talk bad about it, is Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel, you can pump rainbows to Seattle. You can pump them to, what's his name, over in Chicago. There were 4 coaches that were in line for Coach of the Year. But you know something? Each time I look at those coaches, they're saying almost the exact same thing, except for one man. Mike Vrabel nurtured these guys for the whole year and was on point with them. He ran up the field with them. Did you see anybody else running up and down the field with their team when they scored? When they were running a punt return back? How about a kick return? that they were doing. I remember watching him when Antonio Gibson, before he was injured, took a kickoff all the way back. And where was Vrabel? Following him right downfield. He was pumped, excited. I can't give it to a better man. Sounded so inappropriate. I couldn't give that award to a better man for what he did with that team. Not just the turnaround, but the body language. The body language of what you saw between Gerard Mayo and Mike Vrabel is so night and day. When I started the podcast, one of the things I said was I didn't like Gerard Mayo because there was something about his body language that made me feel ill. Made me feel ill. Just didn't make me feel right. And I said they shouldn't have ignored it, and it should have been Vrabel. And they went through the year, and it sucked. They had Jacoby Brissett, sucked. They put Drake May in, ray of sunshines. Let him down. And the last game, oh yeah, let's win that game. Why? A lot of things that Mike Vrabel was that Gerard Mayo wasn't. That's what you look at when you're looking at Coach of the Year. What your predecessor or what your previous coach did to your current. And watch the differences. Look, I could act like I'm sitting on a podium. I could sit here like I'm sitting on gratitude. I could tell you how great my guys are. Tell you how great they handle themselves under pressure. I could tell you that they go in and out, and they pray to God that they come in, do their job, don't get injuries, and go home and be fine. I can tell you that all day. That's every coach. Mike Vrabel will sit there and he will say, you know, we looked at it as we're not supposed to be here. But it's something else to the fact that, where it is. Referring to the snubbing Kraft, May, and Belichick the same week, but I agree that I enjoy the season more than when Mayo was a coach. Didn't have a game this season. I turned off even the you know something, Mr. G? I'm calling you Mr. G. I hope you don't mind, sir. But I will tell you, I did talk about Kraft. I did talk about Belichick. I was going to get into the May part because I haven't gotten into the May part. It's true. The snubbing was so horrible. But even the two games that they lost originally, they were worth watching. I was excited watching them play Vegas and then watch them lose. It's like, all right. It's, something? I sat there looking at them and I said, something? It's game one. Let them be. Let them be. Let them do their thing. It's game one. How can you fault them for one game? Came out the second game, rolled over. It's great. Won. Then they played Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh with the hard-earned defense and Aaron Rodgers at the beginning of the season when Old Man Rodgers was not beaten, badgered, battened up, and everything in between of an 18-week season. They got him raw. Did he do a lot of damage? No. But you know something? Game was still tight. It was good. And Mr. G, and to anybody else, did anybody see the body language? Vrabel's body language. That's what I look at in a coach. I want to see your body language pump people up, not knock them down. Did you talk to them like they lost? No. You talked to them like they won. Mike Vrabel saw them lose 2 games. 2 games at the beginning of the year. And what did he say? It's a game. There's another one next week. We got to go out there and play our ball. And we will do it on our terms. You're getting better. It's the start of the year. Then a 10-game win streak. Only buffed by Buffalo. You can't get better than that. I don't care if you're a weak team. I don't care if you're yesterday's team. I don't care if you're the garbage team. I don't care if you're crap team. Okay? The part that a lot of people even need to understand. The Patriots were not a soft team. They did not play a soft schedule. 2019 Kansas City Chiefs had the softest schedule to where it was softer than Derry's soft birthday. If you get the Letterkenny reference, that's fine and dandy. We can be friends. But I will tell you, 2019 Kansas City Chiefs were softer than the Patriots. And nobody, I mean nobody referenced that. Let's not talk about the Kansas City Chiefs so badly because Patrick Mahomes is God. Patrick Mahomes is a piece of junk over the next 2 years. Mark my reference on this, and I'll show you my references. The next 2 years is going to be hell for Patrick Mahomes. You want to know my references? I'll tell you my references. Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, the minute he won a Super Bowl, was a god. I said, give him a couple years and he's going to be trash. Well, he wasn't winning anything anymore over in Seattle. Let's ship him out. Go to Denver. Sign a big contract. Trash. He then went to Pittsburgh with Justin Fields. Justin Fields did better at quarterback than Russell Wilson. And then, there was the battle of the quarterbacks. I said the Pittsburgh split. You got Russell Wilson going to New York, and you got Justin Fields going to the Jets. Justin Fields had a better year. You want to know why? Justin Fields played, I think, 6 games, 8 games. He was in there for like a lot of the time. What happened with Russell Wilson? Oh, that's right too. Jackson Dart decided to make an appearance. Oh, and why did he? Oh, because Wilson sucked. So there's 1. 2, Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield, everybody said he was washed up by the time he left Cleveland. I said, you're stupid. You're stupid because that man is going to come in and he's going to be great stuff. Sure enough, Went to Carolina. Didn't do much at Carolina. Then signed with Tampa after Brady. He's been nothing but great. Patriots were the first team since 1970 merger to defeat the top 5 defenses in a single postseason, but people will say they had an easy schedule. Oh, Mr. G, that is glorious. And you know why I like that? Because it's God's honest and truth. Because, and I know Mr. G wanted to hear this, and I'll give it so Mr. G can actually give me. You can rate how I feel about Drake May being snubbed against Matt Stafford. People played to Matt Stafford. People gave the right up to Matt Stafford. People looked at Drake May like he was nothing. Is it right? No. Is it wrong? Oh, yeah. I will tell you in every which way when I was on the podcast last and I made my mark and I said what I said and I still stick by it to this day. Okay? If you don't think Drake May was an MVP, you don't know football. Matt Stafford is a very good quarterback. He is a very talented piece. I rooted for Matt Stafford when he was in Detroit, and I said he needed better. And that man went to LA and won a Super Bowl. Now you've got to snub a young kid for him to become MVP. And the only thing anybody talks about, and this is how I know they don't know football and they don't know jack diddly shit upon how half the stuff they talk about. You want to talk about Matt Stafford's touchdowns. You want to talk about his passing yards. But you don't want to talk about the other stats that roll in with it. How about completion percentage, which Drake May crushed him? How about the yards in his feet? 430 yards from center, rushing. You know what that 430 yards means? Drake May found ways in his second year to show you what he was made of because he kept the ball in the offensive hands and worked the clock. He worked the yards. He worked the game. You can state anything you want and give me. It's the same thing. I'm going to talk about another sport for a second, so please be wary. When people sit there and they talk about home runs and they talk about strikeouts, it's a great feeling. It's great knowledge, but it's not everything. Do you think I care about a guy with a 246 average and 40 home runs? It's great to the fact that he hit home runs. What was his RBIs? How many people were on base when he hit the home runs? What else did he do besides hit home runs? Where was his value? And I can tell you what Drake May's value was. He kept his team in games just as well as the defense did. He was dealing with an offensive line that wasn't as strong as what needed to be. Not like Matt Stafford's. Matt Stafford's offensive line was an A. Wasn't an A plus, wasn't an A minus, it was an A. His wide receivers were A's. Tight ends, B plus. Running back, B. Everything of that offense was basically an A minus to a B plus, give or take, like on a good day. What did Drake May have? I can tell you what he had. 2 sophomore wide receivers, who had explosive years. A well-known running back that became a fumble, known for his fumbles in the first part of the year, got it together, but it was still fumbles. To a rookie running back that helped him carry the load. To an offensive line that still provided pressure to a quarterback to either sneak off or they buckled down to give him dazzling throws. Or sometimes it was Drake May that would leave the pocket and still make a pass. Did you see that out of Matt Stafford? No. You saw 5 to 10 yard touchdowns to Puka Nacua, to Devontae Adams. Don't sit there and sell me a bill of goods, because I'll tell you, not as a Boston fan. If you found me in Columbus, Ohio, doing this podcast, stating to the fact that it was sports concessions instead of Boston concessions, I would tell you exactly what I'm telling you right now. You snubbed Drake May just because he wears a New England Patriots jersey. Tag that. Because that's the horribleness of what the NFL does. You tagged a man for MVP that you could have taken him and put him. I'll state this because it's something that everybody said, oh, well, if you switch them around, you'll get a different result. You're right. I'll go one better. If you took Drake May and you took Matt Stafford and you put them side by side and had them on the New York Jets, I guarantee you Drake May would lead the New York Jets to close to a playoff berth. And that says something, because everybody knows the Jets suck. Okay? So, yeah, you take both of them and you put them on the Jets, you're going to find magic in Drake May. So, what Mr. G basically said is going down right here. There are so many more years that you're going to have of Drake May. And those multiple years you're going to have of Drake May is going to be astounding. This isn't his first Super Bowl because it's not his last Super Bowl. This kid is probably going to be one of the top tier guys. I have a feeling he's going to blow away Josh Allen. I mean, Josh Allen hasn't even made it to a Super Bowl yet. Drake May's in there, second year. And sure, give me all the crapola and everything like that, like, who they played and what they played and how they played. Listen, we went over this each game. And I'll state it now. You fans, or you football fans, as you want to say, you put the mark at the 50-yard line. And then you said the Patriots couldn't do this, they couldn't do this, and they couldn't do this. Well, guess what? Patriots got to the 35. And then you moved the line again to the 25-yard line and said, you can't do this, you can't do this. Basically, the Patriots took your line and went over it every single time, and they got to the 1 yard line. And the 1 yard line was the Super Bowl. What happened when you got to the 1 yard line? You lost. Ain't no shame in it. The fact that you got there, that's the more powerful aspect that I can even look at, because you got there. You didn't sit there for anything under the sun, okay, and play tiddlywinks. No. You played teams. The LA Chargers were supposed to be, oh, their offensive line is a little light, but they got Justin Herbert. They got a Harbaugh as a coach. Oh, their defense is really good. What happened? Did they send the Patriots home? No. Like Mr. G said, you then played Houston. Where you're the top ranked defense. Fuck top 5. You're the top ranked defense. Your quarterback saw ghosts, just like he did the game before. Okay? So anybody sitting here saying, oh, if he played like in the right spot. No. Time the hell out. When Houston played Pittsburgh, CJ Stroud didn't show up. The regular season, CJ Stroud took a hike. And what was left? Turnover machine. But the difference between Pittsburgh in the playoffs to Pittsburgh, what? Week 3? Patriots defense got stronger. They got more accountable for what they did. They had their coach in their ear, giving them promise and praise and singing their anthem of who they were. So, yeah, whether they played Pittsburgh or whether they played Houston, that defense was taking whoever the hell they played on offense and destroying them. Marcus Jones, pick 6, thank you. Carlton Davis, 2 picks. Man didn't have interceptions all year. Comes up with 2 against Stroud. Oh, wait. What was the defense doing to CJ? Oh, that's right. Pressure. Maybe he did see ghosts. He played like shit. Was all over the place. But again, top tier ranked defense. Top 1 defense. Oh, and I forgot the biggest stat of all. One of 2 quarterbacks all year to throw 3 or more touchdowns against Houston. One of them was Jacoby Brissett during the regular season. The other one, Drake May. Yep. In a playoff game, mind you. 3. So, do sit there and tell me, see, I've always looked at games as you play the regular season to get to the playoffs. And then the playoffs shut off. Because the playoffs show you who you are. The regular season doesn't show you anything. The regular season hits you a ticket to get to the promised land that will bring you to the big game. What you do from there is the biggest opportunity you can literally look at. That's what the Patriots had. They were told they weren't going to make it. They were told, don't even look at anything because this is garbage. They were told you are not going to do what is expected of you. You're going to fail. Who said it? Well, people like Nick Wright said it. People all over the place basically said it. Wasn't there an ESPN log that I believe someone in Boston, I want to say it was Cerrone Battle. It was Leroy Irvin. It was Cerrone Battle on Twitter. Posted and called out people on an ESPN show because they all voted for Houston. And he said the last time they all voted for the same team, that team lost. Patriots went. Was right there. All day. Every day. Can't hold it. What's the benefit of what you're looking at? There's an easy benefit to it. You know? Mr. G said it perfectly. This was not a season that you can look at and think horrible about. This is a season you can be proud of. I'll tell you why. Your coaching staff looked dominant. Even with their their defensive coordinator stepping away because of cancer. And we're happy as hell to the fact that he's doing great. He was there during the game. It's the coaching staff itself is a powerhouse. This is year one. And a lot of people have to understand what happens during year one. Year one is adjustments. Year one is documentation. Year one is getting to know everything as it is. Year one is seeing where your failures are, where your strengths are. If you took this coaching staff with these players and you went all the way to the Super Bowl, you already know there's failures. But how much success did you just have? How much did you go right up the ladder and say, yeah, well, you know, we can fix this and we can do this, but oh man, we made it to the game. We look big. We look great. We look pumped, amped. What's so wrong in that? Where is the wrongness in that? There is none. I will say one of the biggest things that still gets to me, especially when I'm looking at it, people are still talking about Will Campbell. You know the annoying part that I get about Will Campbell? At the beginning of the year, before he even took a snap, oh, he's got small arms. He's not going to have the reach. Then they made the joke to the fact like, oh, his arms are so small. Oh, you're gonna be like pushing like this all throughout the year. He got nothing but stronger. And when he got stronger, he got harder to get into. That doesn't sound right. He got, I was almost going to say stiff. That's not right either. Um, I know this is going to sound bad as well, but I don't care. It was tougher to penetrate his side. Okay, there you go. So left tackle held down. He was great. What was wrong with it? There was nothing wrong with it. but that's but that's my point to it. You know, I'll call it out for what it is. Mark Bertrand stating to the fact that Stephon Diggs needs to be cut away because he's going to be making too much money. Listen, you can't pay Stephon Diggs enough money to be the cheerleader of the team and hold it down where he is. He's got a beautiful connection with Drake May. He's got a beautiful connection with the wide receivers. He is not that same person that he was in Houston. He's not the same person he was when he was with Minnesota. He's not, he is kind of the same guy he was in Buffalo because he got Josh Allen on track. And a lot of times, Josh Allen actually kind of went off to the side. Drake May has been nothing but straight line with this man. Pay him $40 million. I don't give a shit. That man, Cardi B can hang out because you know she's up in Robert Kraft's suite hanging out. Both of them are rapping. He's sitting there doing his old man strut. Fine. Keep doing it. Even if they're broken up. You want to know why? I don't give a shit. Look at half of that motivation that came out of that man this year. You want to fault that? There's points to where I will say a lot of people have horrible takes, but when people come in there and they just want to, oh, let's just drop Stephon Diggs. Why? It's the first Patriot in years to have 1,000-yard season. And you want to drop him? Who are you replacing him with? Because everybody drooling to the fact of A.J. Brown coming to the Patriots. I will sign this in an easygoing piece. When Philly drops him, trades him, or he is officially signed to the New England Patriots, I will believe it. Until then, leave it alone. I get everybody is swooning and wants to twiddle the balls of A.J. Brown coming over to the Patriots. Listen, you want to go balls deep in the man, that's your prerogative. Does he work well with Mike Vrabel? Yes. Is he an amazing, amazing wide receiver? Yes. Is he available? No. He still has years on the contract. He has stated he's not going anywhere. Philly has stated he's not going anywhere. Oh, well, you know, if they make magic for A.J. Brown. Who do you give up for A.J. Brown? Who? You know it's going to be a draft pick. You know it's going to be a draft pick. That man is going to take a draft pick. They're going to take an actual player, and they're going to take something else from you. Okay. And here's the other thing. How do you even know that it's going to work? What happens if it doesn't? Then what? Mr. G already kicking it out. Rather Pitkins. You're right. I'm going to look this up. Because why? Because I can. George Pickens versus A.J. Brown stats. George Pickens outperformed A.J. Brown. 93 catches, 1,400 yards, 9 TDs, compared to Brown's 78 catches, 1,000 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Now, here's the one thing I will say with both of them. They're 1,000-yard receivers. They're long-range receivers. They are magic receivers. Okay? If I'm looking at this stat right, okay? Pickens was a top 5 wide receiver in 2025. Brown was ranked between 11 and 14. Pickens recorded 4 games with 130 plus yards and a touchdown in 2025. So he had 4 games of 130 plus yards and incorporating a touchdown. Brown, early in his years, 2,000 yards his first 2 seasons. Everything after that, just barely making it over. And receiving yards this year, 1,003. That tells you something. But this goes back to also what I said earlier in it. You have to look at George Pickens coming off of the Dallas Cowboys. That's a Jerry Jones fiasco. So to the fact of, is he going to let George Pickens go? Is he going to throw a lot of money at him? You know? Here's the beauty part where you can do this. You can keep Stephon Diggs for another year. It ain't going to cost you anything to cut him. It's not going to cost you anything. All you got him is a sign. Okay? You've got 2 more years of Pop Douglas. You have 2 more years of Kayshon Boutte. You have 2 more years of Drake May in his rookie deal. Only person you probably have to sign is Christian Gonzalez. That's it. Some side pieces and everything like that, but your main attractions. And I wouldn't be surprised if Drake May pulls the Tom Brady and says, "Listen, just sign me." Because if I'm him, if I'm Drake May, I'm going to be flat out with you. I'm doing exactly that. Just sign me. Don't care what it is. Don't care how it is. Don't care what it takes. Sign me. I don't care if it's pennies a day. Okay. And you too can feed a quarterback in the NFL. Sign me. That's how I'm looking at it. Sign me. See, I like where Mr. G was going with it. George Pickens, he's probably going to get a lot of money. But a lot of people also sit there and go, you know, the Patriots losing, it's this, it's bad. It's not going to do anything. I hate to break it to people, but you have Josh McDaniels and Mike Vrabel as a 1-2 combo in New England now. What does that do? Makes you a destination. You've got Drake May, quarterback, second year, going into his third. Ball runner up to the MVP award. Outrightly so, the actual MVP of the league. Where do you say no? This isn't an argument of money. You basically took a 4-13 team and went 14-3. And you did it with grace. You did it with style. What happens if you do add somebody like George Pickens? I'm not even going to talk about AJ Brown. You're going to go a lot of places. A lot of places. Because you're not going to, let's put it this way, you're not going to double up Stephon Diggs. Not going to double up on Kayshon Boutte. You're going to leave Pop Douglas wide open. You're going to leave Hunter Henry completely ecstatic. And if they do keep Austin Hooper, which I hope they do for another year, Austin Hooper's been phenomenal. You're going to have two of those guys that are basically going to dissect and destroy, because Drake May is going to do one of three things. He's going to throw it, he's going to bomb it, or he's going to run with it. And you have to figure out what the fuck is going to go on. Here you go. I said the F word now. Now you know how heated I am in the show. Hour and a half in, still talking about Patriots, and I'm heated. Heated. Here's another line. Max Crosby. Everybody's saying, yeah, Eagles. Everybody's also saying, like, oh, go here, go here. If they keep Max Crosby, it's not going to be because Max Crosby wants to be there. Max Crosby doesn't want to be there. So he'll make it known. But is it possible to trade to New England? Well, I love how people love to talk, and one of the things they're talking of is, hey, if we send Max Crosby to New England, then New England's shipping Christian Barmore over to the Raiders. This is also from Sporting News when I read it, and I'm sorry. I think that's trash. You know, Thankfully, I don't read the rags. You know, do I understand Max Crosby is going to be available? Yes. Do I want him to be available? Yes. Do I want him to come to New England? Yes. Do I want to give up Christian Barmore for it? No. Drake May in year 3. He's got 2 more years till he will see a bunch of money for a new contract. Right. So you know what you do in that time, Mr. G? You spend around him. You spend around him, you get him ready, because the one thing that I think people don't look at this kid is he's humble. He's like Brady. There's 2 things that this kid wants. He wants to win and he wants to fit. He already fits in New England. This kid is going to, like, if he lasts 20 years, okay? If he goes into his 40s like Brady did, he's here for life. Is he probably going to sign some $30-40 million contract? No. Could I see him doing a 25 million? Sure. You know, maybe a 27. He's not going to sign for Patrick Mahomes money. And of course, like, the one thing is, as an agent, you're probably going to push for that. But you know, to the fact that either he's going to have the discount of where he signed, but he's going to push the narrative to the fact that, yes, I want to make money, but I also want teammates around me. I want a team around me. I want someone that's going to lock in, be where I need to, hold it down, you know? And that is what Brady did all those years. You know, he didn't sit there and say, like, "Oh yeah, like, give me all this money." Like, what did Patrick Mahomes do? Patrick Mahomes took 45 million a year. He's had to dip into it, I think, once or twice, because the Kansas City Chiefs, I think, were left with $1.8 million to sign 3 players. But what did Patrick Mahomes do? He put an investment into the Kansas City Royals. First off, congratulations, guy, that you're making deals. But you want to make that much money? Great, cool. Go do it. I'm happy for you. I'm really not. But when you sign that much money, look at what you take away from yourself. When people sit there and, like, I'll cross sports again. When people sit there and talk to me about, like, Shohei Ohtani, okay, cool. Shohei Ohtani, can he hit? Yep. Can he throw? Yep. Is he doing what he's supposed to because he's a baseball player? Yep. Do I see anything that makes it move? No. All I know is Shohei Ohtani is Shohei Ohtani. I don't care what else he is. If he DHs and pitches, congratulations. Is he worth the 50 something million dollars? No. I used to love Albert Pujols. And then Pujols made, like, one of those, like, long-term, like, long-standing, like, large contract signings. Stupid. 20-25 million dollars screams it all. But look at how many big name contracts get destroyed. Trevor Story of the Red Sox is one of them. Trevor Story signed a big deal at one point for where he was, and it just didn't work out. No, it wasn't him. It was, what was the other shortstop? There was, like, a couple of them. But, like, they all signed these massive deals, long-term deals. And like, yay. I mean, hell, the Mets are still paying Bobby Bonilla. Does that sound right? No. That man still gets a paycheck for 1 point something million dollars every year. Every year. That's money on your books. That's money to do something else with. Not to still play a player that hasn't played in like God since I was in diapers. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. So no. Do I expect him to hit the $30 million threshold? No. Is he going to be a great quarterback? Yes. Is he going to carry the load for the team? Yes. Is he going to be a leader in this team? Yes. Do you need to pay him $30 million to do so? No. I don't see it. Stephon Diggs was basically one of those guys that you signed to a deal. Now, here's where I'll say if you want to be smart with Stephon Diggs, me using the noodle, you sign him to a 2-year deal, keeping him around for 2 years. Why? Because he's worth it. Do you lower his money a little bit over those 2 years? Yes. You make this year a lot stronger, and next year, you know, a player and team option with incentives if you make certain incentives over this coming year. Granted, you see who your new number one receiver is going to be. Okay? That's a big thing. Having him in the slot, perfect. Is he going to get double teams? Yes. But now, if you also have your new number one, that could leave him to be open, provided he doesn't have jail time. But that's something else you got to look out for, too. Does the contract stipulate any writing about jail time or, what you do to your chefs or cooks or, is he going to have Cardi B in tow? Is he not going to have Cardi B in tow? Here's the thing. Cardi B did not have the same magic that Taylor Swift had. But then again, watching the Kansas City Chiefs against the Eagles, that was dumb. Actually, I want to look at something because there's one thing people tell me. It was 22-40. If anybody literally wants to tell me in their own terminology that the Patriots were the worst offensive team, there's two things I can say to you. Kansas City did not score in the first half, did not score in the second half, put up 6 points in the third and 16 in the fourth. No. This team was horrible. Mahomes had 2 interceptions. Yes, he had 3 touchdowns, which I believe were near the end of the game. Third quarter, Patrick Mahomes had a touchdown with 34 seconds left in the third. What does that say right there? And then if I look at New England Patriots versus the Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl, well, granted, the Patriots didn't score until the fourth quarter. But Drake May was 27 for 43, 295 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He threw for more than him. I mean, Darnold only had 202 yards with a touchdown. You know, I mean, there's ways to look at it. I still think that Drake May got a cortisone shot in the second half. I mean, he didn't do as bad as people would make him out to be. He did bad, but not as bad. Oh, and you're also saying it's one of the worst. Let's go back to the Patriots playing the Rams in the Super Bowl. Did the Rams even score a touchdown? That is not the okay. No, they didn't. They scored 3 points. And the only touchdown belonged to Tom freaking Brady. Jared Goff, 19 to 38, 229 yards, an interception. Brady didn't even have a touchdown. Never mind. Sony Michel had the rushing touchdown. So, again, false narratives of people saying, oh, well, who's the worst offense in Super Bowl history? Nope. I'm looking at it. Neither quarterback had a touchdown. But the Rams, being 15-4, did not score. They kicked a field goal. Didn't throw a touchdown, though. So, still, to this day, I'll roll with Drake May. On side notes, since like I spent all that time. Wow. Bruins really quick. Bruins were on a break. Bruins return to action the 26th against the Blue Jackets. Had a conversation with my dad. One of the things that he just doesn't understand is that a lot of these guys, when they play hockey, they want to represent their team. So where are a lot of the players right now? They're representing their team in the Olympics. So with that going on, hockey is paused, postponed. You know, Jeremy Swayman, Charlie McAvoy playing for Team USA, David Pastrnak playing for, I forget where the hell he's playing right now. The Team Czechia. So, you know, those guys are off doing their thing. Great, cool, grand. So they return on the 26th. Celtics, on the other hand, they're in action the 19th against the Warriors. They played the Bulls on the 11th, 124-105 win. Are they still? They're second place. I did put I did put a little thing like who was going to be in the better standing, whether it was going to be the Celtics or the Bruins. And the reason being is because like I wasn't sure where everybody was going to be. The Bruins are a little bit of a step up because if the playoffs ended right now, they'd be in the playoffs. One, two, three, four, and one, two, three, four. No, actually, they would not. They would be out by a game. Um, unless of the fact that the Blue Jackets, because they are where they are in the Metro Division, um, depends on how they would do it. But yeah, that they're almost on the outside looking in, and they still have been there all year. Um, what do I expect out of the Celtics? I expected a little bit different considering Tatum being out, but Jaylen Brown and company have actually made the team exactly what they need to be. Strength in numbers with everything that they've done. Especially with the signing of Vujacic from Chicago. So it's great when you're seeing a lot of build. But the other one thing is when you get rid of Anthony Simons, especially from Vujacic, the first thing is you put another big man to handle the load for what you need to handle. And a lot of things is like with Jason Tatum on the suspect of coming back, that's going to fuel a lot more because he would have taken the spot where Anthony Simons is. So you've got a lot of moves, you've got a lot of things that are basically going to go on. I'm looking forward to it. Just as any green teamer is, having Jason Tatum back is a welcome addition. But to the fact that like you have to give your hats off to Jaylen Brown, Peyton Pritchard, um, everybody along the lines of like what they've done, how they've done, everything to the fact of like just looking at this for what they behold. You're looking at a lot of stuff that I expected them to be down the line. I expected them to be like one of the bad teams, like they weren't going to make or break anything that they were doing. But look at this team right now. They're looking phenomenal. And in addition to Jason Tatum, it's only going to make them stronger. Nobody in their right mind is ever going to say adding Jason Tatum is going to weaken this team. I don't care how Sam Hauser looks. He knows it better than anyone. Body language and all. When he did that interview, I'm like, dude, you wouldn't even be known with who the hell you are right now. So give them credit where they're showing the addition of Nikola Vujovic, I like it. It's good. It gives you that big man. It gives you a lot of potential with him, a lot of potential over the next couple of years. It's another Brad Stevens smart move. You can't get around that. The man is intelligent with being in that front office. And he's doing it 30 times better than Danny Ainge. I'll give him credit where credit is due. He's doing phenomenal. It's the expectation that I want to see. And now, of course, the Red Sox. The Red Sox will start spring training on the 21st. I'm happy for them. Not really. Um, for those of you who also don't know, we're going to another year of the Red Sox. I have despised Alex Cora. I don't trust him, don't believe in him, don't have a lot of like nickels to him. But there's a lot of things that looking at a lot of things that have gone on with the Red Sox. Um, I mean, the addition of Wilson Contreras, you could have did better. Um, there's a lot of signings. Um, Caleb Durbin, uh, just having Marcelo Meyer back for like a full year. Um, you know, I just don't see a lot of things in what the expectation is going to be for the Sox. A lot of people are saying like 78 plus wins. I'm probably saying 70, 76. Uh, why? Pitching, I feel again they could have did better. I feel to the fact that they're still lacking something. Um, there's a lot of look into how Trevor Story is going to be for the year. He was great last year. How he's going to come in here. Ranger Suarez, time will tell with that because he's either going to be like lock star potential or he's going to be injury prone and we're going to be annoyed. You know, the one singular thing I will give to Breslow is you found moves that you could do and you didn't push the envelope, but you tried to make the team a little bit better. I'm not going to lie with that. Did you succeed? Time will tell when the year comes in. Last year, I was completely ecstatic to the fact that like you just basically anointed the team. However, I don't have Bregman to like sit there and go, this guy's going to come back, make mountains, because he's not there. What is this team going to look like after Bregman's departure? His leadership, his expertise, his prowess on being the Stephon Diggs of the Red Sox right now is just basically out the door. I always like thoughts on this. The reason why I like thoughts on this, especially when you listen on Spotify, when you listen here, there's moments when the Red Sox are going to be Red Sox-esque. There's times where they're just going to be flat on their face. I want to see which one shows up for what. Do I think they're going to be star-studded all-stars? I mean, in Garrett Crochet we trust. But I will be putting a lot of turning points into the Red Sox instead of the Patriots. Patriots still held it down for like everything they did. But I myself, it's a long season with the Red Sox. And it's going to be a long season because you have to make sure the right guys are in place. Do I still feel that energy that they're in the right place? No. Do I feel that they could have did so much better? Given up a little bit to get a lot of it. Yes. I just don't feel that energy that gives them a lot of what was there last year. I feel that you took out a lot and didn't give back to put it back in. Um, I mean, does it pave the way for Marcelo Meyer? Yes. Does it pave the way for a lot of other guys to come in and do their job? Um, you know, you have this up and steady roster, um, with everything that you're going to have and more. Um, you know, the main part also comes down to, and I'm looking at this really quickly, is how much does anybody trust Sam Kennedy? Sam Kennedy, I think, is a weasel. Sam Kennedy is one of those guys that, like, I see him playing too much politics. Um, what he says on Mass Live. Um, I like giving credit to the guys at Mass Live. Christopher Smith on Mass Live, um, stating the Red Sox refused to grant a full no trade clause to Alex Bregman with organizational policy. Um, and again, Kennedy being the snot weasel that he is, if Bregman wanted to be here, ultimately he'd be here. Um, he tries not to talk about organizational politics or policies and the finer points of negotiations because it just doesn't serve you well if you do that. Um, the bottom line, if you had listened to Scott Boras, who's a douchebag in his own right, if you sat there and listened to him when Scott Boras came off and said, hey, my client has another deal, and the deal that he has is lucrative, but he wants you guys to at least acknowledge it and do better with it. And when the Red Sox do absolutely bone shit, well, you wonder why Alex Bregman is not a Red Sox. So it's either you didn't want to spend the 170 or so in order to get him, you didn't want to give him a no trade clause, or you just wanted to be absolute pricks, which is why people don't want to sign here anymore. It used to be when you had Poppy, when you had Pedroia, when you had Pedro, when you had everybody under the sun, okay? And now you have these guys in their elder years going to bat for the organization to get somebody to sign you. And it's like, oh yeah, the Red Sox, yeah. Hey, let me sign over here to the Houston Astros. Why do you think they do that? Because of schmuck bums like Sam Kennedy. Oh, if we offered it, like, we don't know. We don't know. Yes, you do. You know that if you offered a no trade clause, if you offered something else, that man would be sitting there. Same thing with Kyle Schwarber or Pete Alonso. If you put the dollars and the proper friggin' years and the good wording, you would have these players. You know why he doesn't want to look at the finer points of negotiation? Because he failed. He can't get it done. Okay? Sam Kennedy is friggin' clueless. Sam Kennedy has been clueless. He's probably one of the ones that think John Henry is still cheered when he's seen in a ballpark. You, you want to listen to your fans? Listen to your fans. Because you know what you're throwing shade at? You're throwing shade at to the fact that you listened to fans and went and signed Rafael Devers. And then Rafael Devers showed his true colors by not wanting to do what he should have been doing. So you feel slighted. So what are you doing? You're slighting every person. Oh, well, if they didn't want to be here, they wouldn't be here. Friggin' airhead. And I know to the fact that a lot of people are going to look at that, but, oh, dude, you got to be careful with what you say about these people. No, we don't. If they wanted to do right, they would have did right. It's the same thing why Mookie Betts isn't here. It's the same reason why Andrew Benintendi's not here. It's the same reason why maybe we don't have Joe Kelly. I'm sorry, not Joe Kelly, Joe Ryan. That was I thinking. Joe Ryan. Yeah, that guy who was like with the Red Sox for like 30 seconds. Moments like that basically show what you can do, where you can do it, and where you should have been in the world. I'm going to end the show on a lighter thing, kind of. So there are things always that I enjoy. One of them, of course, being food. I'm a large human. I'm not like a lot of people. My dad likes certain styles, foods, etc. I'm one that I like a little bit of, variety, spice of life, usual stuff. But I'm also like a flavor guy. Love my flavors. So I had the idea of where I live. I wanted to try Popeyes. I haven't had Popeyes in probably a very long time. And I will tell you off the bat, like, there's something about going to a place that sells chicken that when you park your car before you go in, if you get the smells, it makes your hunger factor go to like 20. Because the only thing I could smell was chicken and a biscuit. And it was exciting. I was like roared over. I'm like, whoa, look at this. I can smell. Oh, I can smell it. It's great. I know if my friend Joe could hear me now, the one thing he'd say is like, "Oh, dude, you're making noises." That's right. Oh, the moans, the groans, the everything about food, and I loved it. So I'll tell you my experience. Me and my father, we get out of the car, we go to the door. I'm still, almost getting hit by a truck that was backing out that wanted to go because he's got his Popeyes already loaded. I'm kind of like that cartoon where I'm floating in the air and it's like, take me to the food. Open the door, more smell. Oh, and the one thing is, when you walk in to this Popeyes, open concept within the center. So, like, to the fact they've got like hungry people that'll line up. Man, I'm waiting for my food. And then they got the chicken on display. It's not in one of those warmers. Like if you go to KFC, it is on display. Like if somebody just, hey, I just fried this up, it's going right here and showing it off. And the first thing my edible eye went to was the biscuits. Mm. The biscuits looked good. You could tell they were nice and you were just going to pull it apart. It was going to be amazing. And you're seeing it while it's up there. And then they got the chicken. The chicken's laid out. Oh. But then they got their little foods and everything like that, like, your side dishes. And I'm like, what would be really good for sides? You're going to Popeyes. They got the Cajun spices and the seasonings. So my dad gets a little rambunctious, and the first thing he thinks of is like, oh, hey, look, I'm going to get a 12 piece. And the 12 piece I'm going to get, I want to get boneless. It's all right, cool. Let's go. Get a boneless chicken. You would think it's like 11 o'clock at night and they're closing in an hour to where they're going to say like they're out of something. This dude looked at my dad. No lie. Looked at my dad and said, no, no boneless. No boneless. I'm like, 6:45, 7 o'clock at night. How can you not have boneless? Of course, you think that the man, you don't like, ridicule the guy. But it wasn't just that aspect that bothered me. It was the following point that he kind of got a little confused because my dad was still trying to figure out why there wasn't boneless. And he kind of started paying attention to his phone and then wandered off. This man turned into Towley. Okay? He saw his phone, wandered off, and then the poor girl that's been up there since we walked in the door, running around, handling everything. I felt bad. It was like she now had to stop and was like, oh, can I take your guys' order? Do you know what you want yet? Like, we're still trying to process about the no boneless thing, but okay. So my dad got a 12 piece. He got his one side. I think it was mashed potatoes, no gravy. Was good. He didn't eat it all. He left about like 4 or 5 pieces, and of course, here I come to like, crush the day, and it was good. I got a 3-piece tender meal. There's points to where like I go to like a fast food restaurant. Some of the aspects I get is when they don't remember your sauce. This is lucrative. It is lucrative that they remember your sauce because when you get home and you're so distracted by the smells, the tastes, and the fact that they don't have boneless at 7 p.m., you kind of forget to ask. I was one of those people because I wanted to believe that my sauce was going to be in the bag. Nothing. I had plain tenders staring at me when I got home. Luckily, like I said, I'm a flavor guy. I had my Chipotle Cholula sauce. So I put that on the chicken, took a bite. I will say this for everything. The food was everything I wanted and then some. The chicken. The chicken from Popeyes, it was beautiful to pull apart. It was nice and crispy to bite into. The flavor that like just zinged you was astronomical. Then the sides. This is where I was sat. So I had picked my sides. I figured I'd go a little bit rambunctious, plus also include an additional, because how bad could it really be? So I decided on Red beans and rice. Um, Macaroni and cheese, because when do you not go somewhere, eat macaroni and cheese? And then I also wanted coleslaw, because why not? Chicken, coleslaw, it just feels right. Well, macaroni and cheese kind of felt like a jello. I'm not kidding. It was like mac and cheese jello. Okay. If they scooped it, if they did anything with it, it's not like the kind when you go to a barbecue and like you got the mac and cheese right there and you're like, oh man, this has either been in the oven all day to go with everything that's coming off the grill, or the fact that it was sitting in a smoker or a grill and now I'm really excited. That's a different level of mac and cheese. This thing was the jello that was probably underneath that mac and cheese. So kind of mid. The coleslaw was 30 times worse. The coleslaw had almost no flavor, very dry. Not, I'm gonna hate all. A lot of people are gonna hate me for saying it wasn't moist. Okay, there wasn't a moist connection into that coleslaw that made me really excited to want to. Yeah, it's coleslaw. Um, and then the disappointing part, which was the red beans and rice. But first off, you get rice. It's not really hard to mess up rice. It isn't. And I'm not saying it because I can actually cook for myself. It's rice is one of the easiest things to make. And it's one of the best things to learn to make, because it's going to make a lot of things better for what you're eating. And then you have the red beans that are added to it. So you're talking flavor. Mine tasted like plastic. I had to check myself to make sure I wasn't ill or something was going wrong with me. So when I took a bite of chicken, it tasted like chicken and the sauce and everything else. When I took a bite of the red beans and rice, there was a plastic, like it almost felt like a container. Like you were eating it from a container that it was heated up in. It just felt awkward. But the biscuit made me happy. The biscuit was great. Loved it. It was soft, fluffy, pulled right apart. Perfect O. Made me happy. So the chicken, out of everything I had, the chicken and the biscuit were probably bar none one of my favorite things. It was absolutely magical to be blown away by this at a Popeyes. Um, Made KFC look like, I don't know, just some guy in a white suit cooking chicken horribly. Um, I was more blown away by that than a lot of other things. Um, when I go into sides, nope. You know what? Give me Boston Market macaroni and cheese. I miss that. Give me sides from from like even Market Basket, for crying out loud. Um, I think I could go for some mom's horrible green bean casserole as a side and be happy than what I got today. It's my thought. It's how I feel about it. Um, but all in all, I mean, if you haven't had Popeyes, try it. Um, I did for the time. Like I said, I'd go back for the chicken and the biscuit. If I could get like a tenders thing, get my sauce this time, plus also the biscuit. Oh yeah, oh yeah, be one happy boy. But as far as getting sides, no, you can keep them. I didn't even like look at the mashed potatoes. I should have. Was one of those regulars. I should have actually asked my dad how the mashed potatoes were before I came on here tonight. I didn't think about it, but you know, hey, if anything, feel free to like leave comments. Feel free to leave anything anywhere, like what your favorite place is to get something to eat. Um, Lord knows, who knows? I might even try it. I might even like get on board with it. But for the night, for everything, oh my god, it's been wonderful. So we will pick this up probably in a couple days. I am gonna like redo a schedule so this way we can get on point to get a little bit more episodes done than what we did last year. I know taking like the 2.5 weeks off was not um what I was expecting, but it happened. So we'll get back in the swing of things. And I also do apologize to anybody if you do hear the beginning part of the show. We had a jerk off heckler who decided to think to the fact that he was going to be high and mighty and joking, which was absolute trash. But we'll be back to like what we are. Um, Again, I want to thank you guys for like checking in. This is Boston Contestants for an SSPN podcast. Thank you for like, your time, your energy, and everything in between. I'm your host, Topher, and we will see you again relatively soon. Good night, all.